Hey everybody, Kristen Howe here. I hope you're doing great. Thank you so much for attending this special workshop today. I am excited to have you here and excited that you're taking the time for this. This is going to be really, really important for you. So what we're going to talk about today is how you can create your perfect master life plan in only 7 days. Now you can do this without wasting tons of time, without wasting countless dollars, without spending all your time wishing and guessing and blindly hoping that you'll reach your goals. Like we want to get out of that whole fingers crossed mentality. The reason this is so important and the reason I want to share this is because I know that when it comes to planning your success, actually planning it as opposed to just kind of hoping it'll work out, a couple of pretty devastating things can happen, and these all have happened to me. And so maybe you'll see yourself in some of these. So first of all, for a lot of folks, the mere idea of planning your success, the mere idea of actually like coming up with a blueprint that you can follow feels impossible, right? That feeling where you're just like, how would I even begin to put that plan together? The other thing that comes up, this was a big thing for me, is that it feels like it'll take forever. Like you'll never get there. Another big thing is that you feel like you have absolutely no clue where you would want to start or where you want to go or how to start, right? And the result of any of these things, and this is the result that I experienced for years and then finally broke through with what I'm going to share with you today, which is why I want to share it with you, is that you end up, you kind of just throw up your arms and you don't bother going any further than having hopes and dreams, right? Like you abandon any notion of a plan and of actually having it happen unless luck sort of, comes your way and you cross your fingers and you hope everything will work out. And, this is your life. Like that feeling that way about your life can feel really hopeless and disempowering. And I can't, like when I was living that way, it was just awful. And so that's why I'm so passionate about sharing all of what we're going to talk about today with you. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to come up with this master plan and how to do it much simpler than it sounds, right? By showing you how, a couple of things, by how I created $1 million sales team from this group of guys that I had as my sales team. They knew nothing about sales. And if you asked any of them, if you were like, hey, do you think you could, that you can do well at sales? I think there was one guy that probably thought that he could, but everybody else would probably be like, no, not really, but it's a job, so I'm here, right? So what I'm going to teach you today is how I took them from that to $1 million sales team. And I did it in, I think it was just under a year. Okay. And then, because I wanted to test things, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit, I used the same exact strategy to transform a defeated, depressed 9-to-5er into a thriving and joyful business owner. Okay. So before we jump in, I feel like you should know a little bit about me if you don't already. I'm not going to make this all about me because in truth, today is about you. Today is about how you can take this stuff that I have used and applied and how you can take it and use it to really make some significant changes in your life, probably faster than you have been led to believe up until now. But that being said, let me give you this nice brief introduction. So my name is Kristen Howe. I am known as the Go Big Coach. My high performance coaching has helped multiple companies hit the $1 million mark and beyond. I've also helped many private clients transform from being stuck and defeated to living empowered, passionate, successful lives of their dreams. I am the creator of multiple self-study success and happiness programs that are used by thousands of people worldwide. My VIP program reaches people across the globe, which is a really cool thing. My online magazine, The Law of Attraction Key, reaches over 100,000 people with every issue. And over the past, 5-6 years, I've interviewed over 150 masters of effortless manifestation. For the past 20 years, I have personally dedicated myself to mastering the art of going big one small step at a time. And I even add to that now, I say I teach people to go big one small step at a time because simple works. We've been sold this misconception that things have to be difficult. They don't. So that's a really cool thing. Okay, so the way I teach you how to go big one small step at a time is I combine universal laws with proven success strategies. So basically that's a sort of I don't know, fancy way of saying, I teach you how to get all the stuff that you want and live the life that you want while feeling awesome as well. And I do that with an inside-out approach as opposed to what we're typically taught is an outside-in approach. The reason I teach that is because I've lived both, and one feels great, which is the inside-out approach, and one feels like you're sort of living this life of empty success questing where you're just checking things off of a list of things to succeed at, and that doesn't feel so great and doesn't tend to last. So that's why I teach the way I do. My mission, because of that, is to help you transcend any success questing that you might be doing and expand into dynamic, joyful, empowered, fulfilled success living instead, okay? And that's exactly what I want us to talk about today. Because when I started using what I'm sharing with you today in this workshop, everything changed for me. And when I say everything changed for me, that's not sort of one of those weird blanket statements that people say, I mean everything changed for me. I mean in every level of my life. Okay, so this is big. So grab a pen and paper or your computer, however you want to take notes, because this is a big deal, what I'm going to share with you today. And like I said, on purpose, I keep it a lot simpler than most people think things can be, all right, which you're really going to like that part. Okay, so specifically, here's what you're going to learn today in our time together. I'm going to give you the 3 elements of real success. Most people never tell you about these. I don't know why, but they don't. So I'm going to share them with you so that you're never in the dark about them again. I'm going to show you how to literally plan your success over the next 12 months. And when you learn how to do this, the cool part is it allows you to stop guessing, right? Feeling like, I don't know, I hope this works. And it allows you to confidently start each day with fire, with joy, with momentum. And here's the thing, because you're human, so you're not going to start every day with fire, joy, and momentum, and anybody that tells you you are is lying. What you'll discover is how to get yourself back into that space of feeling good and feeling like you have momentum and all of that stuff on the days that you don't. So that's cool. And that's, by the way, this whole plan part, that's the whole master plan thing that I mentioned in the beginning. I'm also going to give you the 2 essential words that when it comes to goal setting, you rarely hear these. And I, again, don't know why, but here's the deal. What I've discovered through time and through the past 20 years of doing this for myself and with other people is, and you'll find out how I never teach anything that I haven't made myself a guinea pig for. You'll find that out in a minute. But the thing that I have discovered is that these 2 essential words, if you do not incorporate them into your master plan, success and joy are not able to coexist. You can't have them together. However, when you make sure that these 2 words are part of your master plan, then I have always found that success and joy cohabitate happily and peacefully and create even more momentum. So that's why this is really, really crucial and important to you. I'm also going to show you how to get out of the action trap. Now, how many of us are running around just taking action? It's like we're on treadmills, right, where we're running around in circles, so we're busy, but we're not actually getting anywhere, okay? So I want to get you off that treadmill so that you can achieve balanced success with the least amount of effort possible, okay? And I'm going to share with you the 3 kinds of people in this world. Now, here's a little heads up with this. Of the 3 kinds of people, first of all, it's cool. When we go through this part, it's cool. It doesn't matter which one you are, but because you can shift, okay? You can change it. Only one of them, and don't worry, I'll tell you which one it is living the life of their dreams, okay? So the purpose of this training today is for me to show you how to be the one type that is living the life of their dreams, all right? I'm also going to show you how to stop spinning your wheels, right? Stop just feeling like you're not getting anywhere even though you're doing a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm going to show you instead how to use my simple 3-step formula. Like I said, I like to keep things simple. That the whole purpose of this formula, it creates ultimate fulfillment and success. Okay, so here's why all of this is particularly important to you right now. So as you probably suspect by now, most of what you've learned, if not all of what you've learned about setting goals, about creating a plan for success, most of it is either missing a ton or is dead wrong. As a matter of fact, because most of the success systems out there are missing the mark, or like I said, they're leaving out crucial pieces, most of the folks that are using them are being led astray. They find themselves sort of stuck on this path of feeling perpetually dissatisfied, okay? And before we go any further, well, I need to emphasize something really, really important, because there's this message that is sent out in the world that I want to dispel right now as a myth. Living in a state of settling or dissatisfaction or any other form of sort of polluted, I guess this is all there is type of thinking, it's not only unnecessary, it's actually unnatural. Okay, we are not born that way. And listen up to this. This is really important. Dissatisfaction is something we learn. It's actually an habitual response that gets our neural pathways get programmed for it. But it is not how we're born. We are not born with dissatisfaction. We learn it. We accept it because we have been led to believe that, that's how life is, right? That's the mantra of so many. How many of us have people around us that, oh, come on, relax. That's how life is. You just got to accept it. That's how life is. No, that's not true. That is not true at all. My guess is you're here because even if you've been taught that, which you probably have because you live in this world, there's a huge part of you that doesn't believe it. And so I want to help you with that. And I want to honor that part of you that is saying, hey, no, I don't want to settle. And I don't think that that's how life is. So we're going to take care of that today. And you are not alone. Okay. I just want you to know that. The truth is that if you're living life sort of just living to get through, and I've been there, I've done it. It's a miserable way to live. If you're there, you know this. If you've been there, you know this. It is becoming, not even becoming, it is the way of life for way too many people and for way too many incredible people. And the cost of this way of living and the cost of this becoming sort of a mass way of living, right? The masses are living this way is really, really high. It's unacceptably high. Depression, anxiety, hopelessness, all of these things are rising to dangerous levels. And they're not just dangerous to the people feeling them, right? Which, of course, those people are feeling terrible. I mean, their life feels awful, but it's dangerous to the world. Because think about it, the more people who are in these devastating emotional states, the more desperate, the more inharmonious the world becomes, the more sort of struggle there is. And then the more we believe, oh, life is just struggle. So much of it is because we're buying into this idea that true success, that true joy is reserved for like the select and special few, right? The people that got the golden ticket. So here's the thing with that. And I just want to bust that myth right now. Often the select and special few are miserable and they are feeling like they'll never be enough. And I've known a lot of those people that could be sort of characterized as the select and special few, and it's amazing how many of them are also struggling with this. So these low energy states, they're equal opportunity. They're hitting everybody. So please listen closely to what I'm about to say, because this really matters. This is so important for you. Success and joy can coexist. You can have both simultaneously. There are people doing it every single day, and you deserve to be one of them. And not only that, you can be one of them. Bottom line, though, is that if we don't let go of this whole, living just to get through way of living and living as if, this is all there is, then we'll never get there. You can't, if you keep accepting that as truth, you cannot get to the point where success and joy are coexisting. Okay, so I'm sure you'll agree that we need to let that go starting right now. Right, so one of the big questions that you're probably asking yourself right now, because, time is important, is if this workshop is right for you, right? That's an incredibly important question. Good for you for asking it, because you want to be sure that you're spending your time on something you need and that will be beneficial for you. So Let's make sure. Right now, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to be really honest because I only want the right people here. If it isn't right for you, I don't want to waste your time and your energy, okay? So this is for you if you know how we were talking about this before, like on a cellular level, you know that settling and just getting through, if you know somewhere on a deep level that that is not how you were meant to live, and you believe that there's more for you, much more, you believe there is more opportunity, more joy, more success, more fulfillment, more love, even if others tell you otherwise. Somewhere in you, you believe that you can be ecstatic about your life and that what you desire is possible. Okay, so if that's you, okay, stick around because you are why I put this workshop together. If you're tired of being stuck, or on a success roller coaster, where one day you're up, the next day you're down, you really have no idea what's coming at you next, you kind of feel like you're always in reactionary mode, this is absolutely for you. If you feel absolutely exhausted, emotionally, physically, mentally, all of that from trying to reach goals in one area of your life and you can't even fathom, right, how you could experience abundance in every area of your life, this is for you. This is a big one. If you feel like you're ready to have a blueprint, like an actual blueprint that you can follow for your success so that you can stop that fingers crossed living that we were talking about, so you can stop guessing, you can stop relying on blind hope and luck, then this is for you. If you want to live joyfully and full of purpose, and somewhere in you, you know that that's your birthright, like you deserve that, this is for you. If you're spinning plates, okay, so many of us are. This is a world of 24/7 access. So if you're spinning plates, if you're running yourself ragged, if as you're doing that, you're like, I can't see a way out of this. I can't see how this could possibly change. Please hang out because this is definitely for you. And if you're tempted to give up on your goals because you can't imagine a way to get there without living in struggle, without constantly pushing the boulder up the hill, then this is for you, because what I'm going to walk you through today is a straightforward, easy-to-use system that works, period. Okay, so here's the deal. If you didn't say yes to any of the things that I just said, congratulations. Honestly, I say this from my heart. That is brilliant. Let me save you time. Tell you honestly, you don't need to be here. We might meet at a different training at a different time, but right now, this is not the place for you. On the other hand, if you were like, yes, Kristen, and you were nodding your head through the whole thing, or even to one or two of those things, if any of those things I just said were a yes for you, in fact, then I highly recommend you stick around. This is exactly where you should be right now, okay? Now, before we jump in and go further, I think it's really important to establish some house rules, okay? And you may have heard me say some of these before. I do that because this is really what I insist on. Okay, so I refuse to do anything that speaks to people who are only interested in hanging out in their comfort zone. And the reason for that is I have never seen anyone get things that they want, expand into their greatness, even experience a small amount of growth without pushing their comfort zone, without moving out of their comfort zone. There's a difference between shattering your comfort zone and pushing your comfort zone, and everything I do, make sure you push it. Shattering it will freeze you, will get you stuck in procrastination, all of that stuff, right? Literally will paralyze you. So there's an art to walking that line between pushing and shattering. I just want to make that clear. I am always just looking for you to push it. But if you're unwilling to even do that, then honestly, you shouldn't be here, okay? Same thing for magical thinking. So here's the thing. I believe 100% that this is an abundant universe, completely abundant. I have experienced proof of that many times. I have experienced things that could seem magical many times. But if you're here because you want a, do nothing approach, where you don't have to do anything and you just listen to me and then everything changes, you're not gonna get that here. I don't have a magic wand. I don't have the ability to do that. Okay, and to be honest, especially not with what I'm giving you today, because inner work, alignment, vision, those are all absolutely essential, but so is inspired action. And this entire training is about creating your master life plan so you can better believe action is going to be a big part of this. So if you're not ready to take action, even though we're going to break it down so it's not shattering your comfort zone and you're doing it in a way that pushes your comfort zone, but where you're able to do it, you got to be able to take the action. You got to be willing to take the action, okay? Another one of my big musts is no excuses, no judgment. So the reason I say that is it's simple. Neither of them gets you anywhere. When you have excuses or when you're judging yourself or you're judging other people, all you're doing is you're staying stuck. Okay, so that's just a big must for me. No excuses, no judgment. So what I'm about to share with you, as I've hinted at, and actually I've just blatantly said it, has changed my life completely. That being said, my results are not typical. I have to say that. Because here's the thing. It is my sincere hope, obviously, or I wouldn't be here sharing this with you, that you will take what you learn with me, that you'll put it into practice, and you'll get rock star results. And I've worked with a ton of businesses and people that have done exactly that. However, you know as well as I do, this is the reason my results aren't typical. Most people who buy any sort of training will not transform their lives. Okay, it's the same reason most people who buy a gym membership don't lose any weight. Fact is, most people don't follow through. They don't stick with something long enough for it to work, or the act of getting the program or the gym membership or whatever almost acts like a drug in itself and gives you the illusion that you're doing something when in fact you're not. So once again, here's the thing. It is my deepest desire and belief that you will be one of the people who stands up and decides to also have non-typical results. It's my belief that 100% I believe that you can be one of those people, especially if you're taking the time to show up here today. The truth is, it's up to you, right? No one can do it for you. It's up to you what you ultimately do with what I share with you today, and I have to say that. Okay, so now we need to start with a big warning, because this will not work if you want me or anyone else to do the work for you. I can't live your life for you. No one else can live your life for you. This is your life. There isn't a person on the planet that can live it for you. And my guess is you're here because you believe that too. So I think we're probably in alignment with that, but I always just like to mention it. So you may be thinking right now, okay, but wait, Kristen, hold on. I'm willing to do what it takes, but I can't control everything, so what happens to me isn't always up to me. Well, yeah, you're right. Okay, you can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond, right? You can always control the actions you take, what you engage with. You're 100% responsible for that. So here's the challenge. For you to claim your life and live your most extraordinary life, you also have to claim that responsibility. Makes sense, right? You have to claim that responsibility. Now, that word responsibility, that is one of those like hot trigger words, right? Because with the word responsibility, a lot of people confuse responsibility with blame, and that scares the crap out of them, right? The thing is, though, responsibility actually is freedom. Because when you take responsibility, you are taking control of your life. You're not giving your life over to someone or something else. You're saying, I am responsible. And sure, that means I've been responsible for some of the things that I haven't wanted to happen, but that also means I can be responsible for turning around, for changing it. So if you want the big first step that you can take right now to claim your greatness, this is it. Ready? Claim your responsibility. Own it. Because it gives you the power to choose how you act in every single moment. That's why I say, no judgment. If you sit there and you waste your time in judging yourself for it, you're not going to move. But if you claim responsibility, you know that what that means is you decide how you act. You're deciding what you do with your life, how you are in your life. This isn't about controlling what happens. You can't do that. There's too many variables at play. That's one of the biggest things that people fall victim to. They spend their lives trying to control what happens, and quite simply, they have their focus on the wrong thing. So to show you what I mean, here is my true and very painful story of frustration, confusion, and loss. So back in 2001, I, as I told you, found myself suddenly out of nowhere with the incredible opportunity to create and run the sales team and personal development and business coaching programs for a success author in New York City. And my boss, as I also shared with you, was adamant about not hiring any seasoned salespeople, right? We were taking a totally different approach, so he didn't want someone coming in and thinking that they knew it all and resisting the new approach that we wanted to take. Totally made sense to me, so I was psyched about it. And at that point, how this it all began is that I had made some sales for him in his coaching program on his own. I had never done any sales, but it turned out I was kind of good at it. So when he said, hey, you want to actually help me build a team? I'm sure. No problem. How hard can this be, right? So I hired 4 people who had never done this before. I told you we were like the bad news bears, and we jumped in. So at that time, and it changed pretty quickly, but at that time my team was made of 3 young guys and 1 older woman. So the first week I gave them all some leads to call. They hit the phones. Rhonda, who was the woman on the team, made a sale the very first day. I mean, and a big sale the very first day. We were all like, whoa. Then she made a sale, I think it was on the 3rd day, and then another on the 4th day. I mean, this was her first week. She was on fire. We were like, oh my God, she was going to make like $10,000 that very first week. So the energy in the office, unfortunately, it was low. And the reason it was low, and she was excited, but she felt like she couldn't even celebrate because no one else had done anything. I mean, like everybody else was like, you know, I can't even get someone on the phone. So it was kind of a weird energy. So they were really discouraged, and she was excited, but she couldn't be excited. So it was a strange thing. So I gave them all a pep talk, got them all revved up for the next week, and we seemed good to go. And that's when things went, just the wheels came off. So by Monday afternoon of the next week, all 3 of Rhonda's sales had backed out and had gotten their money back. Whew. And by Friday, we were all sitting on a big fat goose egg. And so in truth, because of Rhonda's refunds, that was 2 weeks in a row with no sales, no almost sales other than those 3 that had backed out, no nothing. I mean, it was really bad. So on Friday morning, Rhonda quit. And she was really honest. You know, like I said, she was an older woman. She was like a really straightforward person. I really liked her. And she's like, you know what, I need to quit because I've got kids, I've got a house. I don't feel like you've got a system that's going to allow me to succeed. And, you know, I couldn't tell her she was wrong because I didn't. I was winging it. I literally was winging it. So the rest of the team, obviously, was beyond deflated, right? And I honestly, when we left for that weekend, I was like, I don't know if anybody is going to show up on Monday morning. Meanwhile, that whole week, I had been killing myself. I was working crazy long hours. I was exhausted. I was stressed out because my thing is I'll start to feel responsible for everybody else. So I'll be like, okay, well, how do I get sales for my boss? And how do I, you know, allow these poor kids, you know, how are they going to pay their rent and buy food and all this stuff, right? So, I gave all my attention to getting sales over those 2 weeks. And so the other thing that happened was all my other responsibilities were suffering. Not even suffering. They weren't getting any attention. They were neglected. They weren't getting done. So I was 2 weeks in, and I was already about to crack under the pressure. And I had just come off one of the hardest times in my life. So this was one of those, like, this was a must situation for me. Because the time that I had just come off, some of you, maybe if you've been with me before, you've heard me talk about it, but I was to the point where I almost lost everything. My relationship, my, everything, my career, all of my money. I mean, I was in crazy debt. And so, but here's the weird thing, like this felt worse. And it felt worse to me because, like I said, I was taking the responsibility of all these other people on. Because it wasn't just me I was letting down, right? I felt like I was standing in the middle of what was certain. It's almost like it was a guaranteed epic failure, like it was going to be my most epic failure of all time. And so I was, before it even happened, maybe this happened to you, I don't know, but like before something has happened and culminated to be terrible, you're already feeling ashamed. I was already humiliated. right? I sort of feel like you know how caged animals, when they have their back against a wall, what they do is they lash out. Well, that's exactly what I did. I freaked out. And I did it in the worst possible way. So this thing that was like, as I just told you, was kind of a must-win situation for me. I decided to freak out on my boss, which, I mean, that was ridiculous. You know, he was the one that had brought me in. It wasn't his fault, right? But what I wanted, I didn't want to take responsibility. How we were just talking about taking responsibility, I didn't want it. I wanted this to be anybody's fault but my own. So I called him. I boldly called him, and I think there was part of me that thought this was going to, you know, allow me to keep my job longer. Kind of a weird judgment call, but when we're feeling desperate, we make strange decisions. So I called him. I called him on a Saturday night, which, how terrible is that? And I literally was like, look, I don't know what you want me to do. The leads you're giving us are bad. Obviously they're bad. And we're selling coaching, right? What you're wanting to charge is crazy. It's too much. People don't want to spend that money. And so, you know, I don't know what you want me to do. And these last 2 weeks are because of all that. And so I finished my rant. I'm not really a ranter. I don't tend to rant. So this is a very strange thing that I did. And so he paused. He let me finish. Didn't say a word. And he said, hey, Kristen, I have one question for you. I said, okay. He said, do you believe in what we're selling? Just do you believe in what our product is? And it was coaching. It was, you know, similar to what I do now, what I've branched out and do on my own. He was much more just logistically success-based, but he was really good at what he did. And, you know, our coaches were really good at what they did. So when he asked me that, here I was expecting, I was ready for a fight, right? I was ready for him to be angry. And all of that stuff that I was expecting is not what came back at me. So that kind of confused me, and it disrupted my pattern. It disrupted my energy. And then he asked me this question where he's like, do you believe in what we're selling? And I was like, yeah, 100% I believe in it. Because he had actually coached me. He had helped me sort of get through that really awful time in my life. And so I was like, yeah, 100%. I absolutely believe in it. He said, good. He said, do you honestly think it's worth the investment that we're asking for? And I was like, yeah, and, you know, what I wanted to do was go into some story about how I thought it was incredibly valuable, but no one had the money, right? Because that's where my brain was, but no one else saw the value, but whatever. I mean, you know, I could have come up with a million excuses at that point. He cut me off and he said, good. Those two things are all that matters. And that's probably why you've made sales that have stuck, don't you think? Because at that point, guys, I was the only one who had made any sales that had stuck, who were actively getting coached, very happily so, by the way. So he then said 4 words to me. I had to count how many words it was. 4 words to me that I was like, huh? He said, you'll figure it out. And then he said, I'll see you Monday. Hung up the phone. Okay. I was standing there just absolutely confused. That conversation had not gone at all how I thought it would. I hadn't really pre-thought it, but I thought, well, I'm coming at him with guns blazing. There's no way this doesn't end in some weird argument. And if he fires me, then at least I'm not going to feel like it's my fault. And if he keeps me, that's going to mean that he thought it was his fault. And none of that had transpired. So it was this weird thing, and I don't know if maybe you've ever felt this. Have you ever had someone else express that they believe in you when you don't necessarily believe in you yet? And it feels like two things that are contradictory. It feels really uplifting and also really full of pressure at the same time. That's exactly how I felt. Okay, so I had no idea how I was going to fix any of this. So we'd been at it 2 weeks. We had no sales. I'd already had someone quit on me. I didn't have a system in place that worked. I had made sales, so I didn't know what the heck I'd done. I just kind of talked to people, right? So his certainty that I was going to figure it out scared me to death because I'm looking at it going, I've got people's livelihoods on me. So like I said, if that's ever happened to you before, if you've ever felt completely in over your head, or like you were just sitting in the middle of inevitable failure, believe me, you are not alone. That is exactly how I felt. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to try to calm myself down. That's what I do to get myself in good energy states. I walked around New York City for hours. It was nighttime. I honestly felt, and I'm sitting there. If you've ever tried to figure something out while you're feeling stressed, you know that that's not really the most conducive brain space for it. I felt like I was losing my mind trying to figure it out. And what that created was this feeling in me of like, you know what, I'm done. I was walking, I was crying, I looked like a crazy person. Felt pressure. I was like, I just can't do it anymore. I mean, I can't even freak out anymore. I can't explain it in any way other than that. And so I was done. I was like, you know what, I'm done. And I actually said it out loud. I threw my arms up in the air and I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And the weirdest thing happened. I suddenly became so much calmer. And in that instant, I knew. I was like, come on, Howe. That's how I refer to myself when I'm sort of coaching myself through something. It started with sports years ago and it stuck. Come on, Howe. You got a decision to make. Are you in or are you out? Like, that's truly the question here. Because at that point, that was the one thing I had to decide. Was I in or was I out? Was I in for this challenge or was I going to cash it in right now? And if I was out, honestly, I was like, that would be 100% failure. I'd be giving up my sole source of income for this job. Giving up would mean that I had given up everything else for nothing. So I had like my own dog walking business at that time. I had given it up, and it would have meant that I literally gave up everything for nothing, which would have made me feel incredibly stupid. If I was in, on the other hand, that meant I was actually going to have to figure it out, and I had no clue how. It meant that jumping all the way into the pool instead of just dipping one toe in was going to be how I had to do it, so that I couldn't bolt at the first sign of struggle, right? Talk about pushing my comfort zone. So even though I was scared to death, thankfully, I chose to be in. And it was terrifying, by the way. It was a terrifying choice. But more than that, I decided, you know what? I'm not going to give up. Because here's what I knew. I had never seen someone be happy when they gave up on something just because it got hard, just because they didn't know what to do. And in that moment, still terrified, I decided to believe that there was a great solution and that I could figure it out. See, when I look back at my life, and that's all I had to go off of at this point, even in the times of most struggle, and I had my fair share of it, I had actually always found the right solution to what was going on. Like, when I was really honest with myself, I was like, oh, I had actually always found the right solution. Sometimes it had taken a long time. Sometimes it hadn't been the solution that I thought I wanted. It wasn't always easy. But ultimately, it always led me down a far better path than the one I was headed down initially. So because I had that proof from my history, and only that proof, by the way, I decided, okay, I'm doing it. I'm throwing all my belief in that direction, right? Like, I am going whole hog. I'm like, well, my history proves that I always figure out the right way. That's all I knew what to do. And so I did the thing that turned out to be crucial. And this is huge, guys. Listen to this closely. I decided to start to look for clues. I remember at that point, I remembered hearing someone say, success leaves clues, which led me to believe, okay, failure probably also leaves clues. So I realized that the way I had managed to always find the right solution, and it's so funny because this was the way I was doing things without realizing it, was I would look for clues of what was working and what wasn't working. And once I did that, the right path or the right decision or the right next step, it would make itself clear. It would seem perfectly natural. So that's all I decided. I was like, well, the only thing I have is I am going to commit myself to looking for clues of what's working. So to do this, I needed to do the thing that most folks, including me at the time, are scared to death to do. Now, most of them won't do it. I was scared of it too, but I decided I was going to do it. I had to take 100% responsibility, and I had to throw out all of my excuses. So remember what I said before. Responsibility isn't the same as blame. Let me say it again for those of you that need to hear it again. I am also saying it because I need to hear it. Because even though I know this stuff, even though I've lived it, even though I teach it, I'm still a human being. I still need to hear it sometimes. Responsibility isn't the same as blame. So I had to take responsibility without getting sucked into blaming myself. Judgment and blame, what did I say before? They just keep you stuck. So I didn't have time for that. Honestly, I didn't. I mean, I, logistically speaking, did not have time. So there had been some things that had worked out, right? And some things that hadn't. So it wasn't about blame, it was about facts, okay? It was about like getting down to the facts of what had happened. So I let go of taking it personally, and I dug into the clues. The proven path to success is to use your history, right? Look at the clues that have been left by success and by failure, and then create a blueprint that repeats the patterns of success and avoids the patterns of failure. And that was my plan. That's exactly what I did. I got incredibly focused on what elements had been present when I had made my sales and also when Rhonda had made her sales. And then I got even more focused on what elements had been present and what elements had been missing during all of the non-sales, as well as, you know, the refunds and all of that stuff. And as I looked at all of the clues together, I had my big epiphany. I saw clearly that when you have success, you must know every element that contributed to that success so you can duplicate it. That's the only way to get out of the fingers crossed, hope this works mentality, which was how I've been running things so far. So this epiphany helped me create a blueprint for myself and for the team, and we followed it. Over the next 12 months, we would adjust it when necessary. We all got in this path, right? So every single one of us started looking at it. So every call, instead of like, was it a success or a failure, every call, we were just learning the system. We were learning what worked and what didn't work. And that's at the end of 12 months, we went from being the bad news bears of sales teams, I mean, we really were at first, to being $1 million sales team. And the best part was that we knew exactly how we got there so that we could do it again and again. Okay, so what I'm going to share with you right now is the basics of how I came up with our success blueprint so you can do the same thing for your life, okay? Because if you've got your fingers crossed and if you're hoping everything will work out, you're living with a high level of unnecessary stress because that's a stressful way to live. So when you're living that way, trust me, I know you'll have successes every once in a while, but if you don't know how to repeat those successes, you don't have a plan, you have a wish. So if you want a blueprint, if you're like, yep, Kristen, having a blueprint, a reliable system sounds right, stick around because that's exactly what I'm going to walk you through it here today. Okay, but first, you need to know this. So as a result of what I was able to do with my sales team, I felt strongly, okay, you know what, this is a way of doing things that really, it makes sense that this works, okay, but I needed to prove it to myself, right? I wasn't going to take it off of one instance. So I did two things. The first is I branched off on my own. I used it with one of my one-on-one coaching clients. She was a 9-to-5er. She was miserable, right? She's a dynamic person. She was depressed. She felt like there was like a low ceiling to the success that she could ever have at her job, like she had maxed out. And second, she had always dreamed of having her own business. But in truth, she had tried a bunch of things. None of them had really gotten off the ground. She just couldn't get enough momentum going. Then she'd start procrastinating. When I've lived that pattern before. You know, so many people live that pattern. So I got it. When I started working with her, she had gotten to the point where she tried things enough that she was paralyzed by the fear of doing the wrong thing, right? Taking the wrong step. You know what I mean? So she had spent years talking about it. She'd spent time and money trying to get it moving. She was at that point where she felt like, wow, you know, unless I'm going to do the right thing, then I can't spend any time or money on it. So everything was at stake for her. And she was incredibly close to giving it all up. So I worked with her. And again, with what I'm going to share with you in just a few minutes. And over the next 12 months, she was able to create her passion-based business. while she was still working at a regular job, by the way. Okay, so it's not like she dropped everything and did this. So we kept her safety net. In the 13th month, she was actually able to leave her job completely. So at that point, she truly transformed into like a thriving, joyful business owner, which got me thinking. And this was really important. This is an important step that happened. What if I applied this to more than just business success? Because I looked around, I saw so many people that like weren't happy in different areas of their life. So what if I applied the strategies I was using to create fulfillment in every area of life? I'll be honest, I was inspired to do this because I needed it, right? I was experiencing more business success and fulfillment than I had ever thought possible, but it was coming at the cost of pretty much every other area of my life. So I had pushed everything else aside to grow my business, and it showed. My business was doing great, but I had gotten out of shape. I gained a little bit of weight. I had debilitating back pain because I had gotten completely weak. To the point of I was deciding on surgery dates. Okay. I had like no social life. I never saw my friends anymore. I wasn't taking any time for myself spiritually or even just to have fun. Those things that really, really fuel me. In other words, I was having great success in one area, but my whole life was a mess. So if you've ever felt like your success comes at a major cost to other parts of your life, I know how you feel, right? I felt the same way till I committed to what I now fondly refer to as my guinea pig challenge, which meant I decided to use my system in my whole life for 12 months. And it was one of those like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay, so the result of my guinea pig challenge was after 6 months, I surpassed my 12-month goals in 3 areas of my life. After 12 months, I had surpassed all of my 12-month goals in every area of my life. My relationships were better than they had ever been. I was adventuring every single month, taking hikes or doing new things every single month. I felt connected and on purpose. I was taking time for myself. My back pain was almost completely resolved. I had canceled the surgery dates. I had lost weight. I was back in shape. And the coolest part was that my business, which to be honest I thought was going to suffer when I did all of this, but I was ready for that, it actually increased. And I was working 1 less day per week with the increase. So that's when I was like, okay, I got to figure this out and I got to repeat this. It took me years to put together a reliable system that I could share with, my one-on-one coaching clients, my entire community, and all of that. And that's exactly why we're here together right now. Because what I want to help you do is create your perfect life master plan, your blueprint, in only 7 days, without feeling like you're wasting years, without wasting countless, with dollars and money, wishing, guessing, blindly hoping you'll reach your goals, okay? In fact, my goal here is that the shift, if it hasn't already, which I'm guessing you've probably had some aha moments already, but my goal is that the shift will actually start immediately right here on this call, okay? So let's see how we do with that. Anyway, this is the real deal. This is going to be really powerful for you. So, and I've already shared, by the way, how this was a complete game changer for my life and since then for so many of my clients, but this is about you. So let's talk about what can be done for you. So let me show you how this works and you can see for yourself if you want to apply it, how you want to apply it, all that stuff. So what I'm going to show you right now is the 3-part formula for ultimate fulfillment and success in every area of your life. So if you want to break out of that, we've talked about it now a couple times, that fingers crossed approach to life where you're sitting there and you're hoping somehow it's all going to work out. And if you want to instead start using a blueprint that you can follow so you can live a fulfilling and balanced life of lasting success, right? We don't want flash in the pan. We want lasting. This is the formula you'll use. And notice those 3 words I just used because here's my belief. Okay, for success to be true success, it needs to be fulfilling, ultimate, and balanced, okay? And it needs to be lasting because ultimate, balanced, and lasting, these are the 3 elements, the fulfillment, all of that. This is what most people don't talk about. Most people just start telling you how to get this success or how you do this thing or how you take that action, but they don't address that true success, at least in my opinion, like I said, You don't have true success until you feel fulfilled. And to do that, you have to address some specific internal things and not just go after external success. So until you have balance in your life, which, by the way, doesn't mean you spend, there's this myth going on out there. People are like, well, you can't have balanced success. And I'm like, no, you're not going to spend the same amount of time and energy and focus on everything. That would be ridiculous. But you can make sure that as you succeed in one area, you're still moving the other areas forward. That's balance. Moving one area forward, like my business is always going to take probably 75% of my time, maybe sometimes 65%, right? And my health is only going to take like 5% of my time, and my spirituality, right? But they can all be healthy and moving forward, and it can be balanced in that way. Okay, so until you have that, until you know how you created that success that's fulfilling and balanced so that it can be lasting, the reason it can be lasting is because then you know what to do. You know how to adjust it. You know how to adjust your blueprint, right? That's how you know how you can keep moving forward. That's how you uncross your fingers and you're like, nope, I got this. And that's how you know you can go through and handle any up and down. So with everything we're talking about today, I am sure you'll agree that those three elements, fulfilling, balanced, and lasting, are a must. So I'm going to quickly tell you the three-part formula right now, and then we're going to go into detail with each part of it. So there's no need to take a ton of notes right this second. You can wait until we dive deep into each of them. So the formula is B plus B plus S equals ultimate fulfillment. So the first part of the formula is the big picture. Okay, this is where we get like the 30,000-foot view of what you want your whole life to look like. This is also the time to get honest about where you are right now in every area of your life. Again, without judgment. Makes sense, right? So, of course, if you're going to build a blueprint, you can't just know where you want to be. You have to know where you are currently so you can build a bridge from one to the other. And don't worry, there's a way to do this without falling into judgment and overwhelm, which is what most folks do, which is why most folks get stuck, even if they have a perfect plan in front of them. And that's crucial. So we'll talk about that here. Second part of the formula is to break it down. So this is where we identify the exact markers along your journey from where you are to where you want to be, and how long each specific part of your plan will take. When you're done with this part of the formula, you'll have your blueprint in hand, honestly. And just like an architect delivering the blueprint to the construction foreman, now it's simply a matter of following the blueprint and how you follow it, because there's a right way to do this. That's what we cover in part 3 of the formula, which is to schedule your success. Now, you're going to find this dramatically different than most approaches. This was the thing that made it different for me. This is also the part that I resisted 100% for the longest time. But turns out the second I embraced it, this was the piece that made it all happen. This was like what made it all work, okay? So this is probably going to be dramatically different than most approaches that you've probably tried, because it gives you an exact system so you know exactly what to do, when to do it, and for how long to absolutely stay on the path that your blueprint lays out for you. So all of this together in the right order makes up what I call the master plan formula. And something I want you to pay attention to as we go through this is how we use what I call levels. Here's why. Because when you use levels to move forward, you ultimately target when you move levels to move toward your ultimate target, all possibility opens up, okay? The reason for that is because most success systems, goal-setting programs, time management processes operate from one or two, and you probably know both of these, but we're going to go through them quickly. One of two weak modalities. So modality 1 leads you down this path of perpetual dissatisfaction. I call it the set your ultimate vision and go approach. And you know this one probably all too well. I know I did. It's where you come up with your huge life vision, right? You make sure it excites you so much that it gets you up in the morning, at least at first. Then you start running toward it as hard as you can. Now, in my experience, this is the fastest way to take something that you're incredibly passionate about and excited about and quickly turn it into the exact thing that paralyzes you. If you're following this approach, you are probably very familiar with having your thrilling vision going from getting you up in the morning to making you not want to get out of bed in the morning, and instead keeping you up stressed at night. Okay, so what's going on here, right? We need a big, exciting vision, right? Absolutely, yes. But having an ultimate massive vision, that isn't enough. Okay, here's why this alone doesn't work. See, the target of your ultimate vision is too far away. So here's the imagery I'm going to use. I'm going to use the analogy of archery through this whole thing, okay? So on the first day, sorry, I need to take a sip of something. Okay, good. So here's, and by the way, I don't really know much about archery. I did some archery as a camper when I was a kid. So if any of you are archery fans and know a lot about it, and I, say something that doesn't really apply to archery, I apologize. Please just go with me for the sake of the illustration here. So let's say you take up archery, and on the very first day, your coach takes you to the target and gets you all excited. Says, imagine hitting this bullseye of this target from 100 yards away. Like I said, I don't even know if that's possible, but just go with me on this. And you're like, wow, that would be so cool, right? And your coach gets you all excited about it, and you can see that your coach is excited and you're excited, and you're like, I can't even wait to start. And then the two of you walk 100 yards away, and you turn around, and he's like, okay, go. And you're like, I can barely see the target. I can't even see the bullseye. And your coach says, don't worry about it. Just go ahead. Shoot for it. Go for it. Just do it. All these things is what we're taught all the time. Just go for it. Just do it. Just get into action. Take massive action. None of those things are wrong, by the way, as long as you do what I'm about to share with you now, which is move the target closer. We're going to talk about that in a second. Well, what's going to happen? It's a target 100, I almost said 100 miles, 100 yards away, and you don't really know how to do this yet. You're going to freeze. You went from being all excited about it in concept to in application, the moment you have to take action, going, I don't even know what to do right now. This is the exact approach most goal-setting systems take. They help you set the goal. They help you get excited about it. They help you create that massive vision. That is so important. Like, that is so essential. I'm not saying that it's not. But then they walk you 100 yards away, and they're like, now just go for it. And that's where they leave you. You're left there, 100 yards away, looking at it going, I can't even see the target. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do here. And 95% of the time, the result is analysis paralysis or procrastination or frustration or doubt. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And believe me, this was me. I tried this approach for years. Some of that is because even if you had told me to do what I'm about to tell you to do, I would have been no. I resisted it. I would have been like, no, I want to stand here and keep trying to hit the target that's 100 yards away. You keep wanting to say 100 miles. It might as well be, though. I mean, that's the point. And I realized when I lived that way for long enough, I realized, oh, my God, I completely keep setting myself up for disappointment. Okay, so here's the second modality that most success systems or goal-setting programs or time management processes operate from, which is what I call the blind ambition approach. Okay, so this approach leads you down the path of empty achievements. Okay, so it goes something like this. Pretty much, let's not even talk about a vision because you know you want more than you have right now, right? So pick a goal, a short-term goal, start taking action to get it. Take massive action to get it, and then pick another one and go for it, and so on and so on. And for those of you that are thinking, hey, wait a minute, Kristen, you just described a series of successes, so what's wrong with this approach? What's wrong with it? And I know this all from experience, guys, is your successes must be in alignment with your authentic self, with the true bigness that your authentic self wants, or you're going to be left feeling empty and lost and sort of wandering around between successes, right? And you're going to end up wondering, hey, is this all there is? So typically you get trapped in like this never-ending cycle of more and more and more and more and more, yet none of it is really feeding you, right? Like you feel empty. The best analogy I have for this, this happened to me just the other day. Have you ever been hungry, like, where you're like, I am so hungry, but you have no idea what you want, and you don't really take time to think about it. You're just like, I'm really hungry. So you just grab some food, grab something that's right there. And then you're like, well, that wasn't satisfying. So you grab something else and you're like, oh, God, nothing's hitting me. So you grab something else. And even though you keep eating, even though you're full, you still feel hungry because really you're not hungry anymore. You're just not sated because you didn't have anything that you really wanted that was really fulfilling to you. So that's what blind ambition in that approach does. It creates this feeling of insatiable hunger, which is exhausting and devoid of happiness. It feels empty. So listen up. If you feel like, hey, you know what, Kristen, I've tried all the other approaches out there, but I keep coming up short, I have been there. So stick with this, okay, because this formula is going to rock for you. Okay, so let's dive into the B plus B plus S formula. So B, the big picture, it's time to get that 30,000-foot view of what you really want. So this is where, you really dive into what your true ultimate vision is. To do that, we need to include your whole life, all right? So you're going to use some power questions like, what do I want my whole life to look like? You're going to break that down into like the different areas like health, business, finances, relationships, spirituality, fun, whatever comes up for you. But what do you want your whole life to look like? What do I want my whole life to feel like? Right? Because it's not just enough to look at what you want to achieve. You need to know how you want to feel, because here's a little secret that no goal setting system tells you. Everything that you think you want because you think it's going to make you feel a certain way. So if you don't identify how you want your whole life to feel, you could be missing the mark. Okay? And when you identify how you want to feel, you open up so many more possibilities of getting yourself there, which is really cool. Another great question is, how do I want to spend my time? Like, how would I love to spend my time? Here's the thing. This is only going to work for you if you get really specific. Remember, this isn't just about stuff. Possessions, money, achievements are great. Only if your true self, so that self that is beyond stuff, your eternal self, the part of you that is expanded and fulfilled, like you need to feel fulfilled in that part of you. All right. So this will only work if you get deep about how you want to feel. That's why I brought that question up, about why this is important to you, about all of the ways that your life will be positively impacted, about how other people's lives will be positively impacted. So once you have your 30,000-foot view, now it's time to get clear about where you are now. Again, remember, no judgment. This is just discovery time. Remember my story about the sales team. When I finally got out of judgment and freaking out and all of that stuff, I was able to look and really sort of dissect the different calls. I wasn't taking it personally, to discover what was working, what wasn't working, where we were now, where we wanted to be, right? So this is discovery. Where are you in all of the areas of your life? Now, this is a really quick review. Like I said, don't get bogged down here. This isn't a chance to beat yourself up. You are where you are. Okay? That's it. You are where you are. The only reason we need to look at it is so we can, that blueprint, that we can include the bridge from where you are to where you want to go to your ultimate vision. So judgment is only going to keep you stuck where you are. So if you want to stay where you are, go ahead and judge yourself. If you want to move, just for a few minutes, do this exercise without taking it personally. All right. So, just go, okay, where am I now? All right. Deal? Good. So now what we need to do is what we talked about before, which is bring the target closer. So remember that archery analogy. The ultimate vision is big, is awesome. Chances are good it's going to take you a little time to expand into it, right? The truth is, you don't want to just celebrate at the end when you reach the ultimate vision. That's what we've been taught, by the way. We've been taught you just celebrate the big things. That's not how you create momentum. If you look at professional athletes, let's say someone's going to get a 4-minute mile, or that's a good analogy. They don't just celebrate when they finally get to the 4-minute mile. They get excited every time they take another second off their time, because that means what they're doing is working. right? And that's where then, again, they're getting honest about like, okay, what am I doing? How can I do more of that? Like, what's working? How can I do more of that, right? We need to take that same approach here, right? You need to be excited about the small growth. When you move the target closer to expand into your vision, it allows you to celebrate the whole way, which allows you to build momentum, right? You deserve to have the entire journey be joyful and filled with success and celebration, okay? So here's how we move the target closer. We use what is the big question. So I use this with all of my one-on-one clients. I use it in my own life. I didn't come up with this. I got it from Frank Kern, and he got it from someone else, and now I'll share it with, and we've all slightly adjusted it, I'm sure, for our own purposes. But here's the big question. So 12 months from now, let's imagine you and I are talking, and you're like, Kristen, I am so excited. I'm so excited. You shared your 3-step master life plan system with me on that training last year. I fully implemented your system. I got to tell you how my life has transformed over the last 12 months. And now, because of this, I'm on course for my ultimate life vision. Okay, here's what happened, right? So for you to say that, what would have had to happen for you to be excited about using this system in your life? So 12 months from now, what would have had to happen for you to be like, yes, I'm so excited that I use this system. I'm going to use it every year of my life from now on, which is what I do, by the way. Okay? So everything you would tell me that had happened over that last 12 months, that's your answer to the big question. So by answering, the good news is you've discovered your 12-month timeline, which is going from where you are now to where you want to be in 12 months. All right, so we'll use this more in the second part of the system, which is breaking it down. Okay, so what's the fastest way to go big? What did I say? Take one small step at a time and keep it simple, because simple works. It works every time. I've never seen it fail if someone does it and actually does it and takes action on it. This system is no different. All right, so we need to take your 12-month vision, and not your ultimate vision, by the way, your 12-month vision, break it down so that you know where your mini targets are along the way, all right? So you have your 12-month timeline, right? You are here, 12-month target. You know where you are now, where you want to be in 12 months, and now we're going to do something unique. And this is the one thing, this is why I achieve more than I expect to every single time I use this system. We're going to work backwards. Most people decide they want something, they determine what the first step is, and they start. When you work backwards, you don't miss anything. All right, so basically what that means is, all right, 12 months from now, what would have happened like 11 months from now, 10 months, you get the idea. You work backwards, okay? What this does is this establishes your milestones. Okay, so what are the big milestones along the way to your 12-month goal? When you work with milestones, it gives you targets. It gives you those smaller targets to work towards. Right? This is how you shift from possible to definite success, because you've got to have a plan, guys. And I'll tell you, for the longest time, because one of the things I value most is freedom and flexibility, I resisted this. Oh my God, did I resist this? But you've got to have a plan. If you want to definitely get somewhere, you got to have a plan. It's like if you wanted to, I use this all the time, if you wanted to drive from New York to California, and you needed to be there in 4 days, you got to have a plan. And sure, things might come up along the way. In fact, things will come up along the way that sort of take the plan off course. But if you have the plan, then you can adjust the plan to work. If you're just sort of guessing, you might drive up into Canada. You have no idea, right? So you've got to have a plan. This is exactly what this does. This is giving you your targets so you know you can get where you want to go. All right, so let's go back to the archery for a second, all right? So like I said, you are here. Here's your 12-month target. So hitting the bullseye from 100 yards away is your ultimate goal, or I put 25 yards away on the slide. I have no idea why. Let's pretend it's 25 yards away. Okay, so to set yourself up for success in 12 months, that's why. Okay, I get it now. I get what I was doing. Okay, so your ultimate goal is to hit the bullseye from 100 yards away. So you're like, 12 months from now, I want to be able to hit it from 25 yards away, okay? So, and by the way, that's not hitting the bullseye. That's like hitting anywhere on the target from 25 yards away. Okay, then it's time to work backwards. So you realize your big milestones will be 20 yards, and then 10 yards, and then 5 yards, and you get the idea. So here's why this works. If you don't even know how to shoot your bow and arrow, and I tell you, hey, you're going to have to hit the target from 25 yards away by the end of 12 months, you might be excited, but you also probably would be like, how? Right? You're going to be overwhelmed. So overwhelmed that you might not even try. You might move on to something. That's where it's the something shiny thing. I'm like, oh, maybe that thing. Oh, maybe that thing. And that's purely because we're overwhelmed. We don't see how it's going to be possible. Okay? But if I said, hey, okay, so I know you want to hit 25 yards by the end of 12 months, but the only thing you have to do right now is to learn how to shoot the bow and arrow and hit the target anywhere from 5 yards away. You're going to be like, cool, I can totally do that, right? Like, teach me how to do this, I can do that. So that's why we use milestones, because they give you confidence, all right? So then the next part of the system is to schedule your success. So you do this by listing all of the action steps that you'll need to take to reach your first milestone. Once you've done that, we're going to use a really powerful process. This is going to be so amazing for you, called GPLS. Okay, this is your navigation system on your road to success. It's not GPS, it's GPLS. On your path to each milestone, you're going to use it, all right? If you don't, you're leaving things to chance and luck. With it, you're going to guarantee your arrival. So here's what GPLS stands for. So write this down. The first thing it stands for is group. So that's the G, all right? So you're going to group like items together. And here's why you want to do this. When you work towards your milestone, if you work on and give your focus to similar action steps in the same time block, right, it's more efficient because your action is already there, your mind is already there, your focus is already there. So you're going to chunk things together in groups, all right? What most people do, by the way, is they just sort of pick something and start, and then they jump to the next thing, and then they may or may not go together. Like, I have a friend who often goes to the grocery store like 2 to 3 times a day, because she'll go out and she'll be like, oh, I need to grab dinner, and then she'll grab something, and then she gets home and she'll be like, oh, I didn't realize I'd run out of toilet paper, so she goes back out. You get the idea, right? Like, if she was chunking it all together, it'd be much faster and much more efficient, okay? So you want, when you don't group, the time cost is massive, all right? And that's the extra cost that most folks don't think about. Also, the other cost that's huge is focus, because you're sacrificing your focus. Look, it's already really easy to get your focus all over the place. I think we have the attention span that's less than a goldfish at this point. So, and focus, by the way, is the key to success. You determine what you focus on at all times. So when your focus is bouncing back and forth, you end up all over the place. That's why you ever have those days, I certainly do, where you end up at the end of the day going, where the heck did this day go? And I didn't end up doing any of the stuff that I thought I was going to do. That's, your focus has gotten away from you, okay? So that's a really, really important thing to do. All right, then, and by the way, just by grouping, I just want to impress upon you how important this is. Just by grouping, just by doing this one thing, my productivity levels went through the roof. All because I was focused. I was crystal clear on my outcomes. I didn't have to keep shifting gears back and forth all the time. Okay? So using this grouping concept is going to be so powerful for you. All right, once you've grouped, now it's time to prioritize. So basically it works like this. If you want maximum benefit in the least amount of time with the least amount of effort, you must prioritize, because that's how you ensure you are taking care of the high impact things first, right? Highest impact first, highest impact first. That is your new motto. If you do not do highest impact first, you will get stuck in the action trap. You probably know it well. I know I do. I still sometimes get sucked into it. This is when you're taking action that feels good because it's action. You're busy. So it feels like, hey, I'm doing stuff, but it's not moving you forward. It's not moving you toward 1 month goal, 12-month goal, or even that ultimate vision. Imagine the difference, because we do. We live in a world where weird stuff is going to come up and pull at you during the day. So imagine the difference you'll see and feel in your life when you commit to taking the highest impact action first. Because then it's done. Okay? Now, I need to be honest with you. This is where you start to push your comfort zone, because typically the high impact actions are the ones that push your comfort zone the most. Okay, so what you might find is those are the action steps that you are wanting to avoid the most. That's cool. You're human. Okay, so there are two things you can do to help yourself. The first is to remind yourself of what we've already talked about. Success requires pushing your comfort zone. You are not going to move from where you are without pushing your comfort zone. So pushing your comfort zone is your new best friend. Remember, we talked about this already. You want to push your comfort zone, not shatter it completely. So if you feel like a specific action step is going to shatter your comfort zone, here's the second thing you can do to help yourself. Break it down into micro steps. So let's say your highest priority action step is to, call Sarah to see if she'd be willing to send an email to her list about your upcoming event. And you're like, I know this is the highest impact action thing I can do. You're okay with it pushing your comfort zone, but for some reason when you go to do it, you freeze. That just means you need some micro steps to help you. So the micro steps in this situation, just to give you an idea, might be, to figure out exactly what you're going to say to her. Or to call or text her or email her to set up a time to meet so that you can actually have the meeting in person, right? Or have it on the phone or whatever, but where you're setting it up. Get it? When you work with micro steps, suddenly you're able to push your comfort zone further and faster. Okay, good. Now it's time to use one of the most powerful words in the English language. So remember, I told you there are two words that most people don't tell you about that will have a significant positive impact on your success. All right, well, here we go. The first word, I'm not going to keep them from you. I'm not going to tell you they exist and then not give them to you. Give them to you. The first word is levels, which is just another way of saying move the target closer. Every great vision is made up of levels, so using them is to our greatest advantage. So commit to using them right now. Got it? Okay, the second word is leverage. That's the L in GPLS. Now, here's the sad truth. Most of us have been taught to do it all ourselves, to go it alone. There's this pride attached to it. There's also a layer of distrust in there. If you want it done, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. All of that stuff, right? Think about any highly successful, happy person you know. Are they doing it all themselves? I guarantee you, if you ask them, hey, are you doing everything yourself? They would look at you like you're crazy. Leverage is an incredible tool. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're bossy or that you don't care, all those things that we're told it means. It means that you want your time to be spent doing the highest impact things that you are best at so that you can get the best results as quickly as possible. Make sense? Leverage can be simple. It can save you tons of hours, tons of time. So it's simple. Anything on your list that can be leveraged out to someone, basically you're looking for the stuff that is not your highest, that's not this is what I should be spending my time doing. All right? Anything on your list that can be leveraged out should be leveraged. So you can spend the highest amount of time on the things that are going to have the biggest impact for you. Once you've decided what you can leverage on your list, then it's time for the last step, which is to schedule. Yay, schedule it. This is the part, oh my God, this is the weird hidden secret. I realized this with myself. I was like, oh my God, I would get all the way to leverage, and then I would just be like, okay, I hope it happens. And I would forget to schedule it. And then I'd be like, oh, I keep meaning to do that. That's not how the world works. Things will keep coming up to take you off track if you don't schedule it. And I realized something important, and this is something I want you to listen to. The reason I was doing that where I wasn't scheduling it is because I had not been taught to prioritize myself. So the thing I will say is schedule it and then treat it as if it is an appointment with someone else. Right? When you have an appointment with someone else, you go to the appointment and you're focused and you're there. You're not checking Facebook. You're not texting. You're not, or at least I hope you're not. And if you are, please stop right now and get focused. But you do it. You honor it. You're there. You show up on time. You're focused on whatever that appointment is about. We need to start to prioritize ourselves in the same way. And the first way we do that is by starting to schedule the things that we want to do. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Otherwise, it's an idea, not a plan. When you do this, oh my God, it's so powerful. It blew my mind. When I realized I was doing that, when I realized I was leaving everything up to chance and just going, that's something I keep needing to do, because sometimes I would do the stuff. So I thought, I get results. But when I finally changed it to, no, I'm going to schedule it. Here are some of the things that happen. And I know this because it happened to me and it's happened to any of my clients that I've shared this with. Your confidence goes through the roof so quickly. You build confidence so quickly. When I first started doing this stuff, you heard my story with the sales team. Oh my God, I was in a massive crisis of confidence. The second I started doing this, my confidence, it built so quickly. I started to remember who I was. Like, any of you ever feel that way where you're like, oh God, I remember when I used to have confidence. You start to remember that. It starts to build. Your comfort zone expands. Your momentum starts to build. Honestly, this is life-changing. Here's why your success becomes predictable with this process. Predictable, it's so funny because predictable is normally has a negative connotation, like, oh, you're so predictable. Don't you want your success to be predictable? Right? As opposed to like, duh, woo. And sometimes we get addicted to that sort of feeling of like, oh my God, I hope this works. But here's the thing, even when you do this, things are going to happen in ways that you never expected. I have had stuff happen where I'm like, I never would have planned for it to be this good. What I planned for, that predictable success I planned for, I blew it out of the water. But it never would have happened if I hadn't planned for the predictable success. Because when you use GPLS to reach your milestones, the secret is this. Here's the cool part. Here's where it all becomes predictable. This is what I did with my sales team. This is what I did with that entrepreneur I told you about. This is what I do with all my one-on-one clients, my VIP members, with myself. Every year of my life, I do this. I create a new 12-month plan. Because the truth is, once you do it, all you have to do to keep going is rinse and repeat. You do it again for the next milestone, and the next, and the next, and the next. Because remember this, and it's the lesson I learned with my sales team, when you know what you did to create the success, you can do it over and over again. That's the secret to true empowerment. That's why you'll see people, you'll see billionaires or millionaires who are like, you could take it all away and I know I could create it again. It might not be in the same arena, but it's their actions, it's their mindset, it's their habits that got them there. Okay, so you know how I told you I was going to tell you there are three kinds of people in this world. And before we go into this, it does not matter which one you're like, ooh, that's me. Only one of them is living the life that they want to live, of success and fulfillment, of success and fulfillment. You can get there no matter which one of these that you're sort of ranking in and clocking in at now, okay? So they are settlers, okay? So these are people who simply let life happen to them. They accept what they see, they accept what they feel in every area of their life, and even though they may want more, they're like, yeah, this is pretty much what it is. So these are the people that are less likely to move. If you feel like that's you and you're still here with me, we're like an hour and 25 minutes in. That's impressive. That's showing a level of commitment that is beyond. So I would suggest that you are not a settler if that's the case. So even if you're thinking that's you, I would suggest you might be the next type of person, which is a dreamer. Okay, so dreamers, I love dreamers. I was a dreamer for years. Those are the people that want more. They believe that they can have more, but they don't take the action that's necessary to create more because they don't know how, or they have just little sniggling doubt, or they procrastinate. Typically, they procrastinate because they're overwhelmed. Remember, we talked about that huge vision? That's why. It's so scary. They don't have the plan that we're talking about today. If you don't have that plan, you leave yourself open to overwhelm, procrastination, all that stuff. And then there are achievers. Okay, so achievers, and I couldn't come up with another word. Achievers tends to feel like, just people that get things done, but that's not what I mean. I mean people that are internally fulfilled and externally fulfilled, right? The people that have a clear vision, they do whatever is required to achieve their desired outcome, no matter what their current reality tells them is possible, right? What factors in, and so this is important that you realize this, is their happiness as well. They need to feel in alignment with it. They need to feel like it's something that they want that will feel good. Now, this is important. Anyone who is achieving their goals and is fulfilled, there is one element that is not involved in their success, and that is luck. Luck is a 4-letter word, because if you're counting on luck, you're trapped, right? Because you're trapped waiting for something to fall in your favor. So the great news is, with everything I've shared with you, you can take luck completely out of the picture with this 3-part formula. Okay? So here's the deal. You're at your computer, you're watching this, you've heard how this works, you know that having a master life plan is the surefire way to schedule your success, right? And that using the system is the roadmap to ultimate fulfillment and success in every area of your life. So if you're someone who is 100% committed to stop relying on that fingers crossed approach, and you're ready to finally create and follow your personal blueprint for success, you might be sitting there wondering how you can make all of these strategies and approaches that I just showed you your new way of life quickly and easily. Okay, so that's exactly why I created my Ready and Success program. This program is specifically designed to help you create your perfect life master plan, and to do it for every area of your life, so that you have your personal 12-month blueprint for success in front of you. You'll know the exact action steps that you must take every single day to reach your milestones, and then even better than that, as you continue moving forward toward your ultimate vision and fulfillment, you just repeat the process. Rinse and repeat your way to greatness. Okay, so if you want to claim your most extraordinary life, if you want to stop being a prisoner to luck, right, like that dirty word we just talked about, if you're like, oh my God, it sounds so good to just follow a blueprint so that you can effortlessly expand into your greatness, if you want to start taking, if you've committed to start taking high impact action, and you want to feel that you're taking that action with 100% certainty, if you want to annihilate self-doubt and guarantee your success, then this is specifically for you. Okay, so here's how we'll do it. The master plan formula designs your blueprint for you. So when you go through and follow the 4 modules, it designs your blueprint for you. And this is really powerful for you because I give you videos, audios, companion books, and workbooks for every single module. And here's why. See, we all learn differently, right? Some people love to learn by listening. Some people love to learn by looking. Some people love to learn by reading. Some people, like me, I like a combination depending on what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm going to want to read something. Sometimes I'm going to want to watch it, right? So I give you all possible ways to go through this program so that I am giving you what you need for however you learn best. That's the only way this can work. Okay, so let's go through all the cool stuff that you're going to learn. So in Module 1, and like I said, I keep things simple for a purpose because simple works. So in Module 1, we're going to get you crystal clear on your ultimate vision. So even if you don't know what your ultimate vision is right now, if you're in that place where you're like, Kristen, I don't know what it is, I got you covered here. And if you do know what it is, we're going to refine it. We're going to get it really, really clear. Then we're going to get you clear on what your 12-month targets are. And remember that we're doing this for every single area of your life, right? So that you can create massive balanced success and avoid that whole syndrome of, having success in one area and then everything else suffers, and then you shift your focus to something else and then all of the success you just built suffers, right? So that's what we're going to avoid. You're going to actually be able to create balanced success. Okay? That whole unbalanced way of doing things is no longer your way of doing things. In Module 2, we're going to get you really, really clear on where you are now. Remember, this isn't about judgment. It's just about the facts, right? This is discovery. In order to hit your targets, we need to know where you currently are so we know, what the journey is from where you are to where you want to be. It's the only way we can build you your blueprint that works. In Module 3, we tie up loose ends. This is huge. This is one of those weird overlooked things, which loose ends keep so many people from actually taking the action that'll get them moving forward. I can't tell you how many folks are delaying their success because they're tangled up in a bunch of loose ends. So we're going to free you from that. We'll literally do that in one module really, really quickly. And it's surprising how fast you can do it. In Module 4, we create your actual blueprint. Like, there it is. You've got it by the end of Module 4. So you'll know exactly what you need to do every single day, every single week to hit your milestones, so you automatically progress to your 12-month target. And the cool part about it is that it factors in your full life, right? So it's factoring in free time, it's factoring in fun time, it's factoring in social time. So it's not just like, okay, I'm working 24/7 on this one goal. It factors everything in. It even factors in the unpredictable time, the things that come up, which is really, really important to you because that's how life is. Okay, so with Module 1, I'm going to show you how to uncover your must areas. So this is crucial if you want to live in true balance and fulfillment. And a lot of people don't talk about this. It's a lot of times what's beneath a lot of self-sabotage. You'll also discover the best way to use levels and upgrades so that you can know without question that your master plan is going to be exciting and gratifying every step of the way, right? What we want to avoid is that whole feeling of you're waiting until someday to feel great about your life, right? So with levels and upgrades, you get to start feeling great now, which the good news is the side benefit of that is that creates more momentum. It makes you actually want to show up and do more now. So 12-month targets, the way we're keeping you aligned, I already explained this to you, is aligned with your ultimate vision is by giving you those 12-month targets. This is also how we keep you from getting overwhelmed. This is how we move the target closer. This transformed my life. It makes complete sense why it transformed my life. It's worked for anyone I've shared this with that's actually, taken the action to do it. So that's why we're going to use 12-month targets with you as well. And listen, here's the thing. We're breaking things down here because it works, right? I don't want to leave your expansion to chance. I don't want to leave your success to chance. All right? So when you know exactly what you need to know, you can just jump in and know you're on your path to greatness without question. So here's the thing that really makes your goals a reality. We set quarterly milestones. And that's so that, because here's the thing. It's great to know what you need to know, need to do each day and each week, but stuff does come up. So we're setting quarterly milestones to really allow you to sort of judge where you are in all of that. Now, obviously, I can't promise that this will happen with you, but the thing that I have discovered in using this with a lot of clients and with myself is that a lot of times you end up surpassing your milestones earlier than expected with less effort than expected. Like I remember Charlie, one of my first users of this program, he had set, God, I'm not looking at it right now, but I believe he had set a yearly, his 12-month goal, and I believe he had passed it by the second quarterly milestone already. I was shocked, like wasn't expecting it, all of that. So that's, I can't promise that, but it happens a lot of times because you're so focused that you're not freaking yourself out. Okay, so in Module 2, we're going to go through a specific process to discover where you are now, how balanced or not balanced your life currently is. It's a really cool process. It's quick, but it's actually fun. So it helps you avoid that desire for judgment because you instantly are like, ooh, I get this and I can see how I can do stuff to change it, right? So it's a really, really cool thing. And remember, the purpose of it is we need to know where you are now so we can build your blueprint to get you to those 12-month targets. And remember, you'll be happy to know this is a no judgment approach. There's no place for judgment. That only keeps you stuck. This whole program is designed to get you into high impact, aligned action and feel good in the process. So we'll just leave judgment out of it. All right. So here are some of the powerful tools that we'll use in this module. We'll use the Wheel of Life. This is a great exercise. I adopted it from someone else. Then I adapted it. I changed it for my purposes. What you'll love about this, there are such, at the end of this exercise, and it's a really quick exercise. I think I've talked people through it in like 5 minutes before. The aha moments that you'll have at the end of this exercise are life-changing alone. I'll show you how to create your circle of inspiration. So this is a cool journey. You're embarking on a journey. In truth, this is what you're doing. It's a wonderful, exciting journey, but you're embarking on it for the first time. Instead of just thinking about it, you're embarking on it, right? Like you're doing it. So you're going to need to fuel that journey, right? And you're going to need fuel that takes you every step of the way, even when things get difficult and all of that. And that's exactly what the Circle of Inspiration does. It keeps you fueled and moving forward no matter what, even when things get chaotic, even when you're not feeling great, all of that stuff, it keeps you fueled and moving forward. You're also going to discover how to create your ultimate motivation list. I'm assuming you want the truth, so I'm going to give it to you. So having your master plan, using your blueprint, it's going to make your path to success that is lasting and fulfilling so much faster, so much easier. But like I said, I'm not one of those people. I tell it to you pretty straight. I'm not going to promise you a road without struggle. The truth is things are going to get hard sometimes. That's how life is. And sure, this system is going to give you everything that you need to turn roadblocks into speed bumps, and that's awesome, and it's going to allow you to feel better about the steps along the way than you ever had before. But your ultimate motivation list, this gives you the motivation to keep going, because you are still, there are going to still be times where there's struggles. There's going to still be times where you lose focus and where you're down and where you're questioning yourself, all of that stuff, because you're human, right? So this ultimate motivation list, it's sort of like the light. It's like the light of passion, and it's like a match, right? So that you light it up and it sets it off like dynamite, so that you can really take this and knock it out of the park no matter what, even when things get a little tough. It takes it and makes it so the tough moments don't last very long at all, and suddenly, whoo, you're back into feeling really great. Okay, so then in Module 3, like we talked about, we're going to tie up those loose ends, all right? So I'm going to give you a really easy process that ties up loose ends, any of the loose ends that are probably bogging you down right now, even if you don't know what they are, although probably as you're hearing me say this, probably some of them are coming into your mind. A lot of times we inherit other people's to-do items. We take things on because we feel like we have to or we should do them. But if you look at them in the way that I give you, you'll be able to see with sudden clarity which of those items are good for you and which ones are taking away from you. And this one practice alone can free up hours of your time and relieve mountains of stress. Then we're going to dive like head on and go deep into that GPLS system so that you can use it to increase your productivity, increase your efficiency, your effectiveness, make sure you're focused on the right high impact actions, and in the right amount of time for maximum results. Here's the thing. If you're like me, once you start using this, honestly, you'll never go back to another way because it works so incredibly well. Then in Module 4, it's master plan time, right? This is where the rubber meets the road, and you, as the architect of your success, actually create your success blueprint, which is super cool. So I'll show you how to use my minimum and maximum time structure to guarantee you're setting yourself up for success and not failure, and that you're doing it without feeling like you're just grinding away and struggling and all of that stuff, right? Like that's the stuff we want to avoid. It's unnecessary. We'll break down each quarterly milestone into mini goals so you aren't even tempted to procrastinate, right? You feel completely in control and completely like you can do it, which how great is that? That's such a confidence builder. You'll find out how to easily schedule those high impact actions that you need to take every week which means that you're reaching your milestones, you're celebrating successes, you're celebrating progress every single week. And finally, I'm going to give you the 5 keys to take this program and guarantee your success. So this is the next level stuff that you'll learn. So I'm going to give you the rescheduling approach that I use so I never let myself or anyone else down. Basically, the concept behind that is sometimes we think something's going to, most of the time, we think something's going to take less time than it really does. Or other times, we underestimate it, like something happens so much faster, and so then we're left not knowing what to do next, right? So I have a whole rescheduling approach. It's easy to use, and it lets me never let myself down, and it lets me never let anyone else down. I'm going to show you the proven way to rinse and repeat. Remember, this is all like really next level stuff. So this takes out theory. This gives you a specific map for how you can use this exact system that we're using here for the rest of your life to achieve significant success over and over and over again. I'm going to show you how to adjust your goals, which is so important. Sometimes we overshoot what's possible. Sometimes we undershoot it. Sometimes what we want changes. None of that is a problem unless you don't know how to correct your course. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in a simple, easy way. We're also going to get into communication challenges. Communication challenges, honestly, are one of the biggest reasons for setback and failure. So you've got to know how to communicate. It's funny, most people hear communication, they think of other people. You need to know how to communicate with yourself and others. So both you and others, right, to pave the way for a smooth journey. Communication scares people so much because they don't want to seem selfish, they don't want to seem mean, they don't want to seem cocky, all of that stuff. I'm going to show you how to do it, how to set clear boundaries and still be the good guy, all right? I'm also going to, we're going to talk more about why balance is so important, why without it you're kind of doomed to that roller coaster up and down life. Once we go through this, you're gonna know that balance is the only way to go for your true happiness and greatest success, and you're going to be 100% ready to commit to it, even if you aren't now. You will absolutely feel that way then, I promise you. Whenever I create something for you guys, I always ask myself, what else do they need to get the best results with this? So for this program, the answer was clear. So here is the special sauce. When you enroll in Ready Aim Success today, I'm giving you a big bonus, which is a complete library of Level Up coaching call recordings. I did 16 live coaching calls to help my founding members get the most out of this program. And this is the stuff that no one else gets. This is the inside tips, the strategies, the insights that accelerate results. And because I've seen the power of these Level Up coaching calls firsthand, I want you to get the same massive advantage. So I'm including the entire library, all 16 of the Level Up coaching call recordings when you become a member today. And we'll talk about how you can do that, how you can become a member in just a second, and even how you can have your results guaranteed so there's no risk. But before we get into all that, you're getting the exact formula, the exact system that I personally used to stop riding the roller coaster of success, where I was constantly giving up one success for another and all of that stuff, like that craziness that we've all lived, and where I instead started fully living a life of joy and balance with, honestly, higher levels of success than I ever would have told you was possible. If you asked me years ago, I never would have told you the levels of success that I've achieved were possible. So with all of this, you're probably wondering about the price. So to work with me one-on-one, just to give you an idea, is a minimum of $1,000 a month. Most other programs out there charge well above $197, $199, even $250. I've made it way more affordable than that. It is only one payment of $97. So it's really simple. Here's what you do next. Just go to www.readyaimsuccesssystem.com. You can enroll now. You'll get the special $97 rate. You can also click the button on the page that you're on right now that says enroll here, and you'll be taken right there. So, if you don't want to type in Ready Aim Success System, because there's a lot of S's in that, you can just click the button that says enroll here. You'll be taken right there. So once you're at readyaimsuccesssystem.com, just click the button that says click here now to join, or click here to join now. And here's what happens. The second you enroll, within a few moments, moments. That's very proper. Within a few minutes, you'll get a welcome email that'll have your download link, so you can instantly download all the videos, all the audios, the PDFs, the worksheets. If for some reason you don't get that email, all you have to do is email my amazing and friendly support team at support@gobigcoach.com, and they'll get everything set up for you. If you want to claim your most extraordinary life, if you want to stop being a prisoner to luck, if you want to simply follow a blueprint, if that just sounds so good to you that you can just do that so that you can effortlessly expand into your greatness, if you want to start taking high-impact action with 100% certainty, annihilate self-doubt, and guarantee your success, then go to www.readyaimsuccesssystem.com right now, or press that button on the page and enroll. Okay, this is a great bargain. It's a fantastic program. It's changed my life. I made it just for you, but it still gets better. Okay, so listen, on top of the great bargain, the great material that you're going to get here, I want you to understand something important. You are protected by my 100% guarantee. Honestly, this is the strongest guarantee ever. So once you enroll in Ready Game Success, you have an entire 60 days, so 2 full months to fully try out the program with absolutely no risk, and you have access to everything. So here's how it works. You download all of the material to your computer, so you can have all of the privileged information, watch all the videos, listen to the audios, and download them all, right, like you have them. All of the books, the companion books, the workbooks. You can even download all 16 recordings in the library of Level Up coaching calls. You must be absolutely convinced that the path that I have laid out for you, this life-changing information, is going to actually be life transformational for you, and that it will change your life for the better. I'm not kidding. Like, you will have complete access to absolutely everything for 2 full months and a lifetime to use what you gain here. If within that time you decide it's not for you, no problem. I'll buy it back from you. I'll give you a full refund. No questions asked, no conditions, no pressure, and you still get to keep absolutely everything. You have no risk here. You honestly, I know people say that all the time. You actually don't. You have no risk here. But I want to make sure that I give you even more. So if the guarantee, if you're like, okay, and the great price, I still want to do more for you, right? Because you're here, you've been with me, you've gone through this whole training, which tells me that you are like psyched for this type of stuff. So I'm going to give you a special bonus. So this is the 10 roadblocks to success audio. So in this bonus audio, it's pretty eye-opening. I'll share with you what the 10 most common roadblocks to success are. Some of them you probably don't know about, but a lot of them are probably holding you back from your greatness. So what we're going to do in this audio is help you first identify them and then shatter what they are once for all so they don't keep holding you back, all right? If you want simple and specific strategies to use anytime you get off track or feel like you're facing, insurmountable obstacles like we all feel sometimes, this audio is what you'll want to turn to so that you can get back on track fast, all right? This is how you shift from stuck to unstuck at lightning speed. My favorite thing about this audio, actually, is listening to it instantly brings you into a new awareness. More often than not, that awareness alone, simply having the awareness, begins a massive shift in you. That's what it's done for me. And because I love over-delivering, I'm going to give you even more. It's going to get even better. So I'm going to give you another bonus, which is one of my favorite books, Master Your Thoughts, Master Your Life. So this book, honestly, this has had a huge impact on my life. And so that's why I want to give it to you. I firmly believe in sharing the things that help you. This helped me. It really shows you how you can finally gain control over your thoughts and turn them into inspired action that will ultimately shape your positive reality. Let me give you a little recap because this has been, I'm giving you a lot of stuff, and I'm really walking you through it and making sure we're in this together. So I just want to make sure you really are clear on everything I'm giving you. So the Deluxe Ready Aim Success program is what we're talking about. This is so you can create your master life plan, your blueprint for unstoppable success. That big bonus of the library of Level Up coaching calls, you're getting all 16 of those calls that give you a massive advantage with this program. I'm also giving you bonus number 1, which is the 10 roadblocks to success audio. This is awesome for any time you're feeling stuck or anything. Just go to this audio, click into it, and boom, you're going to have a strategy to get you out of it. Sometimes just listening to it will do it. I'm giving you bonus 2, which is the Master Your Thoughts, Master Your Life book. Look, this book changed my life, so, I figure I should give it to you too, because why wouldn't you share the things that helped you? Because you're on this webinar, you're going to get everything for just $97. So on top of the great price, those incredible bonuses, you're protected by my 100% guarantee, which, simply put, allows you to have full access to absolutely everything for 60 full days. You can have all the videos, all the audios, all the companion books, all the workbooks. You can dive into all the bonuses. And my promise to you is that you love it or you keep everything, and I give you a full refund without asking a single question. That's as straightforward, simple, and as risk-free as you can get. Listen, this is a great offer. Lots of people are going to take me up on it for obvious reasons. It's an incredible value. You can get it today at www.readyaimsuccesssystem.com, and I urge you to do so, especially considering that I'm closing the door for new enrollments very, very soon. So here's how you'll know. You'll see a timer on that readyaimsuccesssystem.com page. Once that timer hits 0, enrollment will be closed. And to be clear on that, that means, it's not one of those things where you'll be able to get it somewhere else for a higher price. No, you actually, once the doors are closed, you will not be able to get the program anywhere for any price. That's why this is a really special opportunity right now for anyone who's here, who's attended this workshop. It's not available to the general public, because I want to reward people who take action, and you have taken action by being here. And I really want to reward people who take fast action, because success loves speed, okay? So here's the deal. Really appreciate your time being with me today. Actions speak louder than words. That's why I'm giving you this great opportunity. This will not be open for long. Let's really be honest. I want you to think about this now. You watched this entire presentation, and you want a blueprint for unstoppable success that you can count on so you can break free from all that up and down roller coaster results. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And listen, you're still here, which is impressive. So this is an excellent value. Therefore, go ahead, take advantage of this incredible opportunity now, the step-by-step modules, so you can create your success blueprint, the amazing bonuses, and the 100% guarantee, which promises that you love the program or you keep it for free. You'll honestly have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain here. So I want you to go to readyaimsuccesssystem.com and enroll now, and I will see you there.